Good afternoon everyone, and thanks for joining us on today's webinar on local search marketing. We have run this webinar in the past, but lucky you're on today even if it's your second time hearing this information, because it updates really quick and I've got quite a few updates to share with you today. For those of you who haven't joined us on a webinar before, please be aware that these are offered to you for free by the Department of Employment, Economic Development and Innovation, otherwise known as DD. My name's Yvette Adams and I'm from the company The Creative Collective, and we're very proud to be presenting you this webinar today. This is what we've got in store for you today. Just for a moment I'll give you a quick introduction and orientation around the system. We'll then run through some key points and learnings related to local search marketing, and you will have the opportunity to ask questions at the end. If, however, during the presentation you've got a burning question, please feel free to drop us a text chat. I'll just explain how you can access those functions now. If you click on the red arrow, you can expand your menu, and then there should be a field on there called chat which you can expand, and just like SMS or text chat that you might be familiar with on say MSN or Skype or even Facebook, you can simply type us a message. Now I'm on here, I'm the presenter today, and also my colleague Jag Quimby, who is the facilitator. If you've got any technical issues, I encourage you to direct those to Jag and we can continue with the presentation. If it's anything else you'd like me to answer, please feel to drop it to me on that. Now, another little point of interest is that we do encourage interaction throughout the presentation. We'll do that by asking you from time to time to drop us a text chat in the way I've just showed you, or also to indicate that this applies to you by raising your hands. Just so you, I know that you've got the hang of this, would you mind raising your hands now to show me that you've heard me, you've found that little item on your menu and you're able to raise your hand. Remember to expand the red arrow to get more functionality. Great, and I also encourage you to click on it and put it down again after I've answered your question. So if you'll just put your hand down now, that's fantastic. All right, we shall move on. Just a little bit more background for those of you who don't know me. As I mentioned before, my name's Yvette Adams. I am an award-winning business owner. I've started 4 different businesses from scratch. The first one was actually when I was 17 years old. It was a secondary school sports newspaper in New Zealand where I grew up. That is the accent. And I actually sold it after the first issue to an American entrepreneur. So, yep, doing my first business deal around the boardroom table at the tender age of 17. I then went on to create an online business, my first online business when I was 26, so that was 2002, 10 years ago, and that was an online t-shirt business, and I sold that after 4 years as well. I've got a terrible habit of getting bored of things. I've one of those personalities, so that's why I think I've found my place now with the Creative Collective, because it moves so fast, the industry keeps me interested. And the other exciting part is I work with a lot of different types of businesses, from small startups who are just in their baby steps and right through to very large corporates, and of course the Queensland Government here with this initiative. I also like to indicate that I'm the mother of 2, aged 5 and 8. How many of the rest of you joining us today are also parents and perhaps juggling being a parent? Raise your hand if that's the case for you. You're a parent and you work and you know what the juggle's all about. Good one. Well, I sure do, because my partner's just been away for 6 weeks way out in St. George helping with the flood recovery. So I've had a little glimpse of what it's like for those who are having fly-in, fly-out partnerships. It's pretty tough going, I must admit. Okay, so you're joining us today for local search marketing. Hands up, I want you to be honest, if you don't really know what local search marketing is. It's okay to say so. Pop your hand up if you're still trying to work out what this thing is all about. Because this is not nearly as well known, this type of marketing, as, you know, social marketing, social media marketing, as, say, search engine optimization. Lots of people know what they are. But on the screen now you can see what is a quick articulation of what it is. So local search marketing is perfect for your business if you're trying to promote products or services from a specific geographic area or to a specific geographic area. So you can see some examples down the bottom there. This is pretty common stuff. We go online to look for a product or service, and we know where we are or where we're going to be, and therefore where we want that service. So, you know, I'm going to Gladstone soon in about a month's time as a guest of Dee Dee, and I may well type into the search engine restaurants in Gladstone and look for somewhere to eat. So even though I'm not there, I'm very much looking for only restaurants there at that point in time. Similarly, I might need a hairdresser. I might search Coolum hairdresser, or I might need a building company. Hands up if you've searched before online and you've definitely popped in a geographic location as well as the product or service you were looking for. Sure, lots of hands going up. It's pretty common. And did you know that the amount of words that people search for on the search engine continues to increase? We're becoming smarter about what it is we're after, and we know that if we put these words in, it renders us better results. So that's why we do it. Here's some pretty phenomenal local search stats, and I always aim, and my team always aim, to bring you the latest stats. So these are from 2012. As you can see on here, 82% of local searches will often follow up offline via an in-store visit. So you want to be doing local search marketing, and I'm going to teach you how in a moment, to be in that position where people are considering you as one of the people that they may choose to do business with. Here's another stat. 80% of budgets are spent within 50 miles of the home. So that's an American, stat, of course saying miles, but just think about yourself. I mean, do you tend to often buy around your area mostly? Put your hand up if you mostly do buy within a fairly driving distance around your area. Sure we do, it's convenience, unless it was something we really, really wanted or a service we really, really liked. Now, here's another interesting thing is that, 3 in 4, or 75% nearly, of internet users do perform local searches. So if you put up your hand before, you're certainly, within that demographic. And 54% of Americans, and they say when America sneezes, Australia gets a cold. Often what happens over there, those trends do transpire here in Australia. And 54% of Americans are now using the internet and local search instead of phone books. So I don't know about you, but when was the last time you looked at the phone book? Was it a little while ago? Put up your hand if you don't tend to use the phone book as often as you used to. Sure, lots of hands going up there too. So that's why all of us as business owners, if we're trying to get business from a certain geographic area, or pitch to people who might only be looking for business from a certain area, we need to be into this stuff. The really interesting stat down there, which is why we actually got a picture, is that 1/2 of all local searches are performed on mobile devices. Now, hands up again. I know you're putting lots of hands up. Hands up if you have a smartphone. That is an internet-enabled phone. You might have a BlackBerry, you might have an iPhone, might be an Android, but the fact is you can run internet searches on it. Great. Well, 50% of Australians now have one, and I always ask that question when I run seminars, and often it's an even higher stat. And, basically we're looking for stuff and we want immediacy. We need to change our mindset, but I think more and more people are, that when they're stuck, when they're looking for a product or service, they pull out that little computer in the pocket. It's just too easy. Okay, so let's take a look at what search looks like on, say, Google, which is a pretty common place for people to search. Let's say I needed a builder in the area that I live, which is Maroochydore Sunshine Coast. So I might type that up in the top where it says search term. That's pretty common, right? Lots of people do that. Well, to explain what comes up, right here in the top part, this is pay per click, and we're going to be running a session on that on the 4th of April. So if you like these webinars and you want to learn more about how to get up to this top position here, jump on that webinar on the 4th of April. Now, look down here and you can see Google Places. So these are rendered from Google Maps, which is also linked into Google Places, and these ones down the right are pay per click. Now, this is a fairly recent screenshot, and the point I want to make here is that maps display pretty high up these days. We used to all try and compete for search engine optimization and spend a lot of money or time on trying to get high up in the search engines, and then Google came along and changed the way it renders information, and it puts the maps up high. So it's pretty important that you get listed on Google Maps, is my point. Would you like to learn how to get on Google Maps or how to make the most of your own Google Maps listing? Put up your hand if you would. great. I think every business should do this. You know, even before you have a website, I mean, some of these guys might not have websites, but they could certainly be listed on here. Let's have a look. Let's just talk through the evolution first, because this is the way I feel things are going as well, so you can understand the context. With Google, people went on that as a search engine because they wanted to find stuff like products or services. Facebook took things another level because it was for people who wanted to find out what their friends are doing and where they would recommend. And the key thing is people are actually searching for products and services inside Facebook now too. They're not always going off to Google to look because they really do value the opinion of those friends and colleagues. Moving on though with location-based services, if they want to find local products and services the moment they need them with their friends' recommendations and even have loyalty codes and discounts too, this is really where location-based marketing works well, because they'll probably reach for that little phone and they can have all of that information there if that company has chosen to make it available, which I know all you guys are going to too. So for me, this is a bit of a consumer evolution, and you can choose to be back here just focusing on the search engines, but I would suggest that you do get involved with Facebook, and there's past webinars held on that and probably more to come in the future. And also make sure that you're looking at these location-based marketing things for that very reason. Okay, so if you want to learn how to get up high on Google Maps, here's something I want you to do. You may choose to, if you're in front of a computer, to do this now. Go ahead and pull up that URL there, www.google.com/maps, and there you will find Google Maps. I then want you to type where I've got the first red circle, the name of your business, and you may even put comma and then the full address, the street address that would be. And then you can hit search maps. Let's see what happens. You'll come up with a long list, and you may, let's say this is yours. I want you to take a look at your listing, and I want you to see what it looks like in the top right here. As we can see on this one, which is Valerie's Nail Salon in United States, nobody has verified this listing. So Valerie probably didn't put this on. It's probably come up, and if you're finding you're on there and you know you didn't put yourself on there and you're wondering how you got there, it's probably because it is linked to some of the yellow pages and census data in Australia. So they may think they're helpful by creating you automatically a Google map, whether you know you're on there or not, and they probably are being quite helpful. Similarly, depending on what industry you're in, you might be on, say, a travel directory like TripAdvisor, and that could also pull you in to have one of these Google Map listings. Now watch carefully on the screen as compared to this. Of course we know how to do it better in Queensland. We've got this little green tick here, and that says owner verified listing. So this is a day spa here in Maroochydore. So this person has gone and claimed their map, and that is what I need you guys to do. So I'd like you to tell me if you're on there, if it's verified or it's not verified. I'd like you to drop me a text chat now to tell me what your situation is on Google Maps, that is. Okay, so some of them are saying owner verified. So Dell, you're all sorted. Melissa says not verified, so you've got some work to do. Tracy's is not there. Rosalind's is verified. Joanna's doesn't say. So I'll just flick between these two screens to give you a bit of a reminder. So remember, it will look like this if it's not verified, or it will have nothing. It will have a green tick with owner verified if it is verified. Okay? Cannot find mine. It may be that you're quite a new business. It hasn't picked up any data on the websites. Okay, Robin has made a really good point. She said, I have my own listing verified, but a census listing also, which is outdated information. And that is exactly, Robin, why it's important to update and manage your own Google Map, because places like census do think they're being helpful, but you may have moved house or changed the company name or changed phone numbers or anything like that. And if that old data is still sitting in census, unfortunately, you can't control it, but you can on your Google Map. So that's a pretty good thing. Okay, I'm going to run through some scenarios because I can see a few different ones coming up through all of you. For those of you who aren't on there, I'm going to go back a couple of steps. So if you go to google.com/maps, you type in the name of your company and you're not there. I know some of you said that there was a case for you. You should have a little option down here saying put your business on Google Maps. So if that's the case, I'd like you to go ahead and do that now. For all of those of you who are on there, not verified, have to, I know there's a few different scenarios there. We'll look through those in a moment. There's quite a few of you on this seminar, so we'll just have to see how we go. All right, we're creating a new listing. This is what's going to come up. This should all be straightforward information they're gathering. And if you've got the question of, I don't know whether I should include that on here or not, here's the rule. Whatever you put online stays online. So be prepared to only share information that you're happy to have out there. So for instance, if your main phone is your home phone, but you don't want people having your home phone, then don't put that out there. You may organise to get some other kind of office number or something, you know, secretary answered or something like that. But a lot of this information you should be pretty comfortable with. Now, street address, you can hide your street address later if you don't want people to see it. You can see there because Google recognises that there are home-based businesses who may not want those details to be public. Now, I think somebody also pointed out, what if you're Australia-wide? Well, you would still put in this address of where your head office is based, and then in further steps, you can actually pin out on Google the areas that you service. So as a company, we service the whole of Australia, so we've gone and pinned the whole of Australia. If, however, you have multiple locations in Australia, if you've really got a lot, you can either add them individually like this, but if you've really got, you know, 5, 10, too many that you don't want to sit there repeating and entering this information, you can actually upload a data file as well, and there's instructions on Google on how to do that. Now, the more information you can give Google that you are comfortable with, the better. So you can have up to 10 photos, you can have up to 5 videos. They have to be on YouTube, by the way, because Google owns YouTube. And here's the pinning that I was mentioning just before. So you can actually click on this and choose where in Australia you map. You can even zoom in, and let's say you only service the south suburbs of Brisbane. You can specify that because perhaps you're an electrician or something like that. So it really is quite flexible in what you can do with it. Now I can see a lot of questions coming in, so I'm just going to see if I can answer a few of them. Just a moment. Okay, Robin said, how do you optimize your Google Places listing if your service area is Australia-wide? Well, first, Robin, you would map out, as I've just indicated, that you do service Australia-wide. And then on the stage back here, I'll go back a step under description, you would include in those 200 characters where you service. So you may say we're a Sunshine Coast-based company that services Australia-wide, for instance. Okay, moving on down. Tracy says she has 2 verified, but there's also a 3rd listing that is duplicated, one of the others, and it is verified. Tracy, I would be using the one that is the most populated and that is verified, and you're going to have to go through a process of getting the others deleted. I had this issue too because I used to operate my business from home. I moved location. The census data continued to pull in the old one. So I had to get a Google account, which is free. That's different to a Gmail. I then would log in and edit and manage that place. I had to go through a process of verifying that I owned that listing, which any of you that don't have a verified listing will also need to do. Now, basically what this involves is they used to send out a text number or do a callback, which was pretty good. These days, I believe they just send out a postcard, which is only flimsy and small and it can get lost. When you get it though, let your staff know, let your family know it's coming. Do take that number on there and verify it, and then you'll be in a much better place. Now, this for some people is a very easy process. For others, it can be quite involved and just doesn't flow. I do encourage you to persevere with it because you saw how high those listings came up. It really is worth keeping on looking at. Tracy said, do they accept PO box numbers? Tracy, I believe they used to, but I don't think they do anymore. So as I mentioned earlier, you should feature your street address in here, but as it says, you can hide your street address later if you don't want people to see it. So it sits in the back end, but it's not necessarily publicly available. Francis has said, if we don't want to promote the actual address but suburb, if we selected hide address, would the map just show the area? The map has nothing to do with the address. The map is what you map out are the areas that you service, okay? So they're two separate processes. And Luke says, what happens if you serve customers outside of Australia? Well, Luke, you can increase the pin, so zoom out, and you can also cover, say, New Zealand or, say, England, and you can list those different companies on there. Okay, let's move on. Now, the really cool thing about Google Maps as well is it actually gives you data once you've verified and you have an account. So you can see here on this print screen, I'm logged into my Google account as me, and I can then see how my Google Places is performing. I can see that people were searching website design and graphic design and so on, and they were actually finding my place page, not necessarily my website. So how good is that? This is how many times people were clicking to my website, how many were getting more information on the map. I had 100% complete business info, and you should certainly look at that. And a lot of people don't realize this, but you can actually post on your place page little status updates like you can on Facebook. So, you know, I've done a funny one there where I've just said, Web Wednesday's on tonight, come along and learn, hey, we're doing local search marketing that night too. So there's another example, live music tonight at 7. They last a month. Look, some people see them and act on them, but it's a way of getting feedback on whether this is working or not. So do use it to your advantage. Okay, so Google Maps is your first take home. Do some work on it, get a listing, get verified, and then flesh it out and make sure that all the data is in there that you can possibly include. Now, the next stage on local search marketing is a little platform I'd like to introduce you to called Foursquare. Now, hands up out of interest, who's heard of Foursquare and maybe you're already on it and using it? Put your hands up. Not very many of you by the look of it. Well, okay. Out of all the location-based marketing, I love Foursquare. It's probably one of my favorites. And look, that's just a little bit of personal preference more than anything else. Here's some background on it. It launched in 2009, had 15 million users as of January. So look, it's nowhere near the size of, say, Facebook, which is 800 million users. But 15 million users is still quite a few people, just about as many people as there are in Australia. There are over 1.5 billion check-ins with millions more every day. And I'll explain what check-ins are in a moment. And there's 750,000 businesses around the world already using the merchant platform. That is, they're featuring their business and, you know, they're able to promote the opportunity to come to where they are. I might explain just a little bit more at this point. So basically, Foursquare, most people would use it on their phone. So it's a little app. This is obviously an iPhone on the screen, but there's an app for BlackBerry, which is what I use, and certainly for Androids as well. So you download the app from the App World or the App Store, and it's free. And then you'll often connect it to your Gmail or your Facebook account, and you'll be quite surprised that maybe some of your friends are already using it that you know. What you then do is when you go somewhere, you can check in. So I could check in when I arrive at the Creative Collective, which is on Foursquare, and say I'm here. Now this might sound like futile activity. Why would you do this? What business results will you actually get? Well, I want you to know that on average, the average number of Facebook friends somebody has is 220 people. So if I log onto the Creative Collective and I have 220 friends, I actually have a few more than that, 220 people are going to see that I've gone to the Creative Collective. That might pique their interest. They might click on that and say, well, where is that and what's going on there? So that's one way this stuff can work. The other way it can work is I might check into my hotel for fun. This is not real checking in, to say I'm at the hotel in Sydney. And then I get this little orange button on my phone which says there's a special here or near here. I might click on that and it might say the special is a half-hour massage at half price. And I might go, wow, I've had a long journey, that's irresistible. So for you as a venue, it's a way of upselling. For you as a tourist attraction or a location, it's a way to capture the tourists. They'll tell you what, this is huge in Europe and America, and people will certainly have it on their phone. They'll certainly be coming to Queensland and checking in and looking at places, and if you're not on there, you may miss out on those deals. You can then give special offers. So I'll explain more as we go, but it really is a lot of fun. You can effectively become the mayor of a place. So let's say I go to Gloria Jean's, a cafe, and say a suburb called Budrum a lot. If I check in the most there, I may become the mayor of Gloria Jean's Budrum as far as Foursquare can see. And then Gloria Jean's Budrum may choose to reward me by giving me a free coffee every time I go there because I'm the mayor, I go there so often. Or they might give me the best seat in the house, or they might give me complimentary biscotti. So it's a way of looking after your customers from a loyalty perspective as well as anything else. Okay, I want to tell you a little bit about Gowalla and then what's happening in this location-based space as well. So like Foursquare, this was also launched in 2009. The only difference really is that it was a social travel guide and passport on your phone. So it was all about, you know, checking in, but pretty much it was really pushing the travel and destinations and attractions. It was really competitive with Foursquare in the early days. It didn't grow as fast though, it didn't take off as much. But then what do you know, late last year, this is after the last time I ran this session, Facebook went and purchased it for an undisclosed sum. So I really think that Facebook in time to come and Facebook Places will probably start to see some of the technology that Gowalla already had rolled out through the Facebook Places because reportedly that's where the programmers from Gowalla have gone to work. So isn't that interesting? And on to Facebook Places. Hands up if you're using this already. You are checking in using Facebook Places when you go to places. Hands up, some of you. Yeah, so some of us are already using it. Who's seen their friends checking into places and they've gone, what are they doing with this Facebook Places? Stick your hand up if you've seen other people using that technology. Okay, there's more hands gone up saying you've seen it, so that's good. No wonder you're on here today to learn all about this. Well, look, we all know Facebook's a pretty big giant in this online world. The whole network was launched in 2004. They didn't get places going until 2010. And I must admit, I started noticing a lot of my friends in England checking into pubs and places over there. They've now got 800 million users on Facebook. Some reports say that about 30 million of those were using Facebook Places, but it's really hard figures to find out exactly, but certainly lots of people are using it. Now, here's the important thing. If you already had a Facebook business page, and you got a Facebook Places page down the track, the two might be separate, so they may not be the same. If, however, you created your Facebook page a little later on, you may have a place and a page all in one. How do you know? Well, you log into your Facebook business page, and down in the area where it says people who have checked in here, if it has that, then it is a place and a page combined. If it doesn't have that, they're separate, and you may need to do what I had to do and combine the two together, okay? So I've given you a few examples of how Foursquare works, but let me give you some more examples of how they all work. They basically allow brands to build their fan base while engaging and rewarding their customers. So for me, it's viral marketing at its best because every check-in, like I said, shows up in the newsfeed of the user's friends. As I said, you can create incentives and you can build money off vouchers or individual group discounts. But you've got to promote this thing. So if people don't even know that you're on Foursquare or that they can check into your Facebook place, they're not going to do it. And even if they are really savvy, they do that stuff, sometimes they need that little reminder to do so. And, you know, if you just put up a little board outside like this one on the screen and people start checking in and all their 200 friends start seeing your coffee shop or your hair salon or your restaurant or whatever it may be, then that would be a really good thing, right? It's free marketing. Here's some more cool examples of how people are doing it. So this I've seen, I was down on the Gold Coast and I went through McDonald's drive-through and they had check-in to this business and get rewarded. I think you got free chips or something. So McDonald's are doing it. If you're on Foursquare, they actually give you one of these free window decals. So we sent away for free, they sent it to us, it now sits on the front of our window. So whenever anyone comes into our offices, if they're on Foursquare, they're encouraged to check in. Here's another example. This is more Twitter, but this is a guy in New Orleans, and he's using Twitter and, I guess, location-based marketing as a really strong way to market his business. Little pizza shop, and what he did is he went on and he signed up, he followed everyone he could find on Twitter who lived in New Orleans. And now he only promotes his specials, which you could do with these networks as well, through Twitter. So, you know, you could give Foursquare only specials, you could give Facebook Places only specials, and let people feel special for following you. Here's some more examples. I let you know that you can make people the mayor. Well, these guys give the mayor the best seat in the house, the one by the window, the one near the door. Some of them give mayor the drinks for free. And you know, a lot of people are having mayoral elections around the place right now, so if you're looking for a really fun marketing campaign that you could get off the ground quick smart, how about you take a look at this? These guys give the mayor a reserved parking space, so, you know, do it. It's heaps of fun. So if you want to get started, because you may like to use these as a user first before you start using them as a business tool, I just encourage you to start looking in the app section of your phone and downloading them. From there, you'll need to set up a profile. So if you're talking Facebook Places, you can use your existing Facebook profile. And you will need a separate Foursquare profile. On Foursquare, you should go looking for your business to see if you're already on it or not. You may be on it because maybe one of your customers or some visitor put you on there. I know I often put businesses on there that aren't already on there. And similar to what I showed you with the Google Maps, you need to claim your venue. On Facebook, you need to search for your business name via the Facebook search bar once logged into Facebook. And if a place for your business already exists, you can click on it. And if it doesn't exist, you can create a place for it. So I've talked about how you can do offers as well, because a lot of people say, this is great, but I don't know what I would say. Well, you know, you can do specials, you can promote events, you can push out new products, news, inspiration, whatever you want to do. You can have some fun with this stuff. So it could be you opening your audience to new people you've never had the chance to market to before, and like I mentioned, making them feel special. Now, I guess the one-up that Foursquare really does have at the moment is that you can do deals and specials and things like that. Facebook doesn't have that yet, except it has launched it overseas, and it's just starting to in Australia with some of the big brands, as you can see listed on here, Commonwealth Bank, KFC. So it is coming, and it's something you need to be aware of. If you want to find out more about it, you can go to facebook.com/deals. Who thinks they might do that? Put up your hands. Might go check that out for yourself. Be ahead of the game rather than behind it, hey? Sounds like a good idea for me. I mentioned you have to prompt people to check in, so we've seen a few examples in some of the pictures already, but, you know, putting a sign at your door or at your cash register or on your outdoor signage is a good one. Actually training your staff or actually asking yourself for people to check in. So would you mind checking in while you're here? Thanking people who do check in, so actually going on there and starting to interact with them and building that relationship even when they're not even in your store. If you think of it, if you're still trying to get your head around this, it's kind of like a guest book. I know I worked with a company up in the Whitsundays, and they basically took people out on boats for the day, and they used to ask everybody if they'd had a good day to write a testimonial. Well, you know what it's like. They all say, yeah, I'll do it, I had a great day, and then they leave, and then they're on to the next big adventure the next day, and they don't always write it. So what they now do is they pull out the iPad or they pull out the iPhone and say, would you mind writing something now on our Facebook page, you know, or Place page, log in, say you were here, and then make a comment. And that is a really good, powerful visitor's book for them, or guest book. The other thing you can do is promote it on other networks. So once you're on Foursquare or Facebook Places or any of the others, you know, put it out on Twitter and say, hey, we're on here, come over, is anybody else? And that's a strategy I recommend across all the networks. So I call it cross-pollinating. It's like the little bee that goes from flower to flower and spreads a little pollen around. go from one area, one network to the other, and let the others know you're on it, and build your networks in all directions. Okay, as well as doing all the things I've shown you local search marketing can do, you can also encourage reviews and citations. So hands up if you would, if something had really good reviews or lots of reviews, would you be more likely to go to that place or buy that product? Put your hand up if that usually sort of helps seal the deal for you. Yeah, me too. I know I'm a real sucker for seeing medals on wine bottles. If they've got those medals, I often buy those wines. Okay, well, you can actually get reviews and citations on some of these places. So on Google Places, here's an example here. You can encourage people to be leaving these reviews. So I know businesses who have made it part of their procedure that when people say check out of the accommodation, they send them an email with a link to their Google Place and they ask them to write a review there. Now that's pretty bold because sure, they could write something that you don't really like, but if they write something that you do like, the whole world's going to see it and that's going to be great. The good thing about Google now is that you can respond. So if for any reason you didn't like what they said, you do have the opportunity to respond. And look, personally, I'd rather know than not know, because who knows, otherwise, if you're not asking for this feedback, they could be off telling all sorts of people and putting it on their own personal Facebook, and you may never know. The other place you can get reviews and citations is a lot of the directories. So your common directories like truelocal.com.au and hotfrog.com.au. Do you guys know those? Are you using them already? Put your hands up if they're familiar, your business is already on them. Yep, quite a few hands. They're ones to look at if you're not on them. So for those of you who are on them or are looking to get on them now, you can certainly encourage reviews on those places too. Industry specific. So I've mentioned TripAdvisor already today, but you've already seen how sometimes that data gets populated, goes from, say, TripAdvisor, and it turns up on your Google Play. So here's an example for restaurants, Urban Spoon. You get a review there, it's probably going to turn up on your Google Play. So it's pretty good to encourage that because it'll make you look good on that website, on your Google Place. It'll make you actually appear higher in the search engines as well. So all good reasons to get stuck into this. And if you don't know where to look, check out where your competitors have reviews coming from. So pull up their Google Map listing and down the bottom, look at where these reviews are from. So, you know, if I saw this one, Urban Spoon, and I know my company's not on there, but that's the right market for me because, you know, I'm a restaurateur, I could then go to Urban Spoon, get the link, sign up for it, and then encourage some of my valued customers to write some nice things in there. See how easy it is? So look, in summary, people, here's some things I want you to go away and do from this session. I want you to claim your free listing on Google Places or add to your listing or put more information in it and start using all its functions. You know, look at the stats. Maybe try out putting a status update or a little coupon on it and asking people to bring it in to redeem it to see if the stuff really works. I also want you to explore some of these other local search marketing networks. They can be very, very powerful and a heap of fun as well. So once you're on them, encourage the check-ins and the sharing, get the reviews happening, make sure you're tracking and verifying everything as well. So, you know, how many friends do you have in Foursquare, say, and how many redemptions of the special you're offering in Foursquare are people taking. So they're good, you know, example measurement stats you could use. Do consider what your local search marketing company policy is. So, you know, do you ask your staff to check in when they come in? Can staff muck around with this stuff while they're in there? Because it is marketing. So if they're in a marketing role, do you encourage it or do you discourage it? Think about that stuff. When's appropriate? How often? What's appropriate? And also remember to go mobile friendly. Get involved in location-based marketing will increase your chances of being found via mobile. And more people are searching for products and information via mobile. So you've got to be in there. And this is maybe your big chance of doing so. So that's a heap of information for you. Some of you got on later. See, I think we started with about 17. We've ended up with 92. So that was a bit of a leap. I'm now going to pull up the questions list. But if you have a burning question and you'd like me to unmute you, I'd like you to flash your hand. So click on it, click off it, and I'm going to go up and down the list and see if anyone's got a burning question for me found this works a bit better because sometimes people leave their hand up and they didn't mean to. So let's have a look. Sandra has said, is Foursquare beneficial for online businesses? How can you use it to your advantage through Facebook or Twitter? Okay, a couple of big questions there, and I'm not 100% sure what you're getting at, but is Foursquare beneficial for online businesses? I guess it is. You've got to think about what your objectives are, certainly with all social media, and we do talk about that in our very first introduction to social media session. Okay, so she's saying if you don't have a location. Probably not as relevant, Sandra, because location-based marketing, like I mentioned at the start, is when you're trying to get people to come to your, shop attraction place, which is in a certain geographic location. So possibly not as relevant. However, you know what? If your online business was featuring at an event, maybe you were speaking at an event, maybe you're doing an expo, then you could have a little fun with that stuff. John Williams, how about using Hootsuite Places? Is this as effective as the other places? I'm not aware of a Hootsuite Places, John. Hootsuite is basically a social media aggregation tool where you can list a bunch of different social media, including your Foursquare network, and you can tick which networks you want any given message to go out. I hope that's answering that question. Tamara's asked, how are you notified when people check in at your business location? All right, now that's a good point. Notifications you can set up to, you can amend them through settings in any given network to suit your situation. So look, it depends what sort of place you've got at the start. You might like to be notified when people come, and that might send an email to you. However, that might get annoying. You've got a busy restaurant, you're trying to get food out, and there's all these people checking in. You keep getting beeped to tell you there's an email that someone's checked in, so you may turn them off. I guess I would look at these a couple of times a day and just see what was going on, but I'd use them more as, I guess, an outwards communication tool to let people know what specials we were running, to encourage repeat business and that kind of stuff. But on that point, Tamara's made a good one there as well, which I haven't mentioned and I should. You can turn it off so that you can check in and nobody necessarily needs to know where you are. So I could go to a bar on Friday, which I may well do, and I might choose not to let everybody know that I'm at a certain bar at a certain time because I just want to be incognito. However, I might be speaking at an event next week and I want everybody to know, so I tick that, yes, my Twitter network and my Facebook network, for instance, get notified that I'm at that event. So I hope that makes sense. Tracy Bailey, really Google Places. I did not understand how to pin the whole of Australia as the area you cover for your online order service, but still keep a specific street address for your physical store. Let me log in and see if I can show you how this is done. So I'm going to google.com. I'm already logged into my account, by the way. Actually, I'm going to go to Maps and show you exactly how I would navigate there. I'm going to search the Creative Collective. I hope this is helpful. Okay, so here's my place. I'm going to pull it up. Okie dokie. Right, I haven't done this for a while, but let's go to the owner verified listing. So you can see it's taken me into the back end of my account here. Okay, and then I'm going to edit my business info over here on the right. And it's pulling up, you can see I have pinned Australia and New Zealand as areas I service. Now, areas served is this area in here, so I just need to get to edit that. Here we go. Under list of areas served, I can type in, I've typed in a bunch of key, I guess, metropolitan areas in Australia and New Zealand. Or I could choose separately distance from one location, or I can choose do not show my business address on my maps listing as well. Okay, so does that answer your question? Okay, I've just got to pull back questions. Here we go. Okay, I hope that helped you, Tracy. Luke, I read this on the Wikipedia for Facebook. Facebook Places was reported discontinued on August 24, 2011. That's interesting, Luke, because it may have been as a one, if you know what I mean, as a single entity, but you certainly do have some of the functionality of Facebook Places on your Facebook business page if you can combine them. So I don't think you would be able to just go and set up a new place, if you know what I mean. But as I mentioned, if you go and set up a new Facebook business page, I believe it will have that Places functionality. Before they were separate and you had to combine them after the fact. So it's probably better that, that way. Okay, Andy Kosh has said, is there a strategic formula in creating a citation-savvy Google Places account? Should you merely emulate your high-ranking competitors or follow a set of processes that work with GP? Gosh, that's pretty technical, Andy. I'd probably like to ask my one of my team members to know. But I do think, I mean, it's not that sophisticated, is it, to look up what some of your competitors are doing and emulate them. I think that would be a good place. I think after you've exhausted that, you'd probably turn to a professional to say, what else can I do? Perhaps because you're in a really highly competitive market and you really want that competitive edge. I hope that helps answer your question. Okay, if anybody else would like to ask me a question, feel free to flash your hand, click on it, and I'd love to unmute someone and have a little interaction with someone at this point. I think I've dealt with all the text questions, so I'm just scrolling up and down the names of attendees. Anybody here want to ask a question? Okay, Chelsea flicked, so I think she does. G'day, Chelsea. Have you got a mic that we can hear you on? Maybe not. You've got to have mics built into your computer or external mics. Oh, she doesn't have audio, she said. Feel free to drop us a line then, Chelsea, just as you have, and I can read out your question. Happy to. What a shame. She was so keen. She was flashing her hand. Anybody else want to flash their hand while Chelsea is perhaps typing to me? I'm just going to double check the rest of these questions. Okay, Chelsea says, I'm trying to upload our video that's currently on YouTube using the URL and it's saying invalid video. Could you tell me why this might be happening? Tried using both long and short URLs. Are you using the embed code? Because I've got a vague recollection that you need to grab not just the link but the actual embed code, which is placed, let me see if I can show you this. If you go to, I'll just test this theory. There's photos, videos. I know, no, it's giving that sort of example there. So let's just go to your YouTube, and I'll pretend I'm doing one from our channel. Hopefully this is useful for everybody else too. So let's say I wanted, this Twitter one here. I could go share. Is this what you were doing to get your links? And I could grab that link there. And let's see if I can just pop that in there.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Twitter Your Way to Business.
That would be another webinar. Okay, so the other option is you could click on that embed one. And I wonder if that would help at all. Let's just see what you're saying here in response to that. Okay, it looks like you're trying to paste a very long one. I don't think it would be as long as that. So can I suggest you go and follow what I've just showed you and get a URL that isn't quite so long, because that doesn't look quite correct. I think you're grabbing your feature one or something like that. And does it matter if I'm logged in with another account, different Google accounts? Yes, that could well be the problem. Okay, Sarah, I can see how we can use local search marketing for clients to find our counselling service, but I think that we will not be able to use checked-in and other location check-in services, as our clients probably don't want to flag they're having visited a psychologist. Am I throwing the baby out with the bathwater? Well, look, yeah, of course, Sarah, in some industries, this kind of marketing strategy isn't going to be appropriate. I pretty much leave it up to you as to what your industry requires in terms of regulations and things and check-ins. I mean, if it's a volunteer basis and they want to check in, then that's okay, I guess, would be my initial thought, but it probably would be lower down on the priority list for people checking into a psychologist, as opposed to, you know, a tourist attraction or an accommodation outlet or something fun like that. Beetle is telling me he has to leave, and I can see some of the rest of you are too. So we're just going to send you the link now of a survey I'd love you to complete before you log off today. We do require this as part of our reporting back to Dee Dee, so I'd love it if you could take just a few moments to complete that and send it back to us. Just going to ask Jag to provide that link. Just going to double check he's doing it. One moment. What? Where is it? Okay, apparently it's already sent, so you should have it there. Love it if you could take just a few moments to complete that. Look, before you go, where are we? Before you go, we do have a range of really exciting new topics coming up. We've got video marketing on tomorrow. That's with the lovely Zoe Wyatt. Those of you who have joined us for her before know she's full of knowledge. So she'll be telling you all about how to make the most of videos. I wonder if she could even help you with your little issue, Chelsea. Might be a good one to jump on with as well. Business continuity planning is a really serious topic. It's basically all about planning for disasters, emergency plans. It's not exciting stuff, but it really does need to be done, and you would be far better to do it before you actually need it. Then we've got search engine optimization on next week. If you want to learn more about that, jump on with me. And I'll be introducing a new speaker, Karen Wiskin, who'll be taking pay-per-click on Wednesday the 4th of April. So if you want to learn how to only pay if people click on your ads, then you need to be on that. All of those are free, and all of them you can register at business.qld.gov.au, which is an amazing resource, has all sorts of templates and checklists and information about how to find funds for your business, etc. That's Dee Dee's website, and I strongly encourage you to all go and check it out. Here's a list of other Dee Dee resources. Apart from their really extensive website, they've also got a hotline, which is 132523. You can call that any time with a business issue you may be having. If they can't help you, they'll certainly point you in the right place. Apart from that, they're also on Facebook and Twitter these days, so we'd love you to go on to those. We'd love you, in fact, to use the hashtag QLDBiz if you like today's webinar and would like to say a g'day to Business QLD.gov. So just go to Twitter, type in @Business QLD.gov, that'll get to them. Say you enjoyed the hashtag QLDBiz webinar and tell us why. We'd love that feedback from you. So once again, a reminder to complete the survey, and thanks so much for getting on today. I hope you got a lot out of it, and I introduced you to the world of local search marketing, which I really do love. Like I said, you can do some amazing things with it, viral marketing, really get other people marketing on your behalf for free. So get into it, and I wish you all the best. Keep in touch with your success stories. Thanks.
Muted.